I think a lot of men can see needing to go to couples therapy as a failure. I think it can see it as, oh man, we're one of those now.
Okay.
Basically, this is one step closer to the end.
So they see couples therapy as the end versus trying to prevent the end.
The beginning of the end.
Versus trying to prevent the end.
I think for the most part, if I had to guess, yes.
So they see couples therapy as the end versus trying to prevent the end.
The beginning of the end.
Versus trying to prevent the end.
I think for the most part, if I had to guess, yes. Okay. It's almost like an admission of, it's almost like going to Alcoholics Anonymous, right?
Okay.
And that means you're an alcoholic.
Right.
And if you're an alcoholic, that's not good, right? And so it's almost like dealing with your demons. Okay. So I think I'm saying this to you as it's coming in my head.
Yeah.
So it's like men oftentimes don't like to face their demons.
Yeah.
Which is
not just men, nobody does.
Oh, right. Well, people who've grown, right. So, but what I'm saying is especially because we're not allowed to, well, society tells us we're not allowed to cry. Mm-hmm. The only emotion that we're allowed to show is anger and fighting. That's it. Mm-hmm. Right. But we'll drink, they'll smoke, they'll, fornicate, they'll whatever. They'll play video games for however many hours. That's why they zone out.
They'll find other outlets instead of dealing with their demons. Yeah.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
And so, again, saying, a wife is like, hey, I think I want to go see someone. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, we don't need to do that. We're fine. What's the problem? Because I think a lot of them see it as the beginning of the end. Now, this is going to sound really shallow and really stupid, right? Let me finish this. Okay. Women are very powerful.
Okay.
There are ways to get your man to do certain things. If you really, again, I know it's bad. This is going to come across really bad, right? Some men, not all, right? They do really, really well with positive reinforcement.
I understand.
Right? And so, let's say a woman wants her man to read a self-help book or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or whatever it is, right? If he shows the effort he shows into that and she makes it memorable for him, if you know what I'm trying to say, because she's happy.
I would like you to say it explicitly, what you're trying to say. I just want to...
However she sees it, right? Okay. Do you want to be right or do you want to be married? Right? So, sometimes you can't have both, right? So, what I'm saying is if a woman wants her husband to go to therapy with her to improve their marriage, right? Because she wants to, and he's not into it yet. They said, okay, you know what? Can we watch a TV show? Remember the whole Dr. Jen couples therapy?
Like the TV therapy thing.
TV therapy shows, right. Mm-hmm. Can we start watching that? And then we can discuss it after, right? And he taking that step, right? And she, how should I say this? She
has sex with him. Just say it explicitly.
No, it doesn't have to be that.
Okay. I'll say it. Because I'm assuming that's what you were...
No, not just that, but again, makes it memorable for him.
By doing what?
Whatever he likes, that's memorable.
We'll leave it vague.
Maybe she might buy him tickets to the game.
We'll leave it vague.
She might buy him tickets to the game. Okay. There's plenty of...
I got you.
Wow.
I got you.
Okay, no problem. Right?
I got you.
She might do that. That's included.
Okay.
She might...
Would you say that's the primary thing?
Oh my God. Not necessarily. Okay. It might because there are people who are unhappily married and have an amazing sex life, right? No,
toward what the man thinks.
Yeah,
we're not talking about what the woman thinks. I'm saying
no. Well, yeah. Well. Yeah. Matter of fact, if I'm mistaken, a lot of people, they stay because like the only thing that's holding them is because they have sexual chemistry. Outside of that, if I'm mistaken.
What I'm asking you is, this is what I'm asking you, because I'm going to tell you how I interpreted or received what you were saying.
I'm pretty sure you didn't receive it.
Because, okay. Yep. Well, I will say it. Yep. I believe that a lot of men do need that. I think a lot of men, when we're talking about positive reinforcement, it means that he is positively reinforced if sex is still happening in the relationship. So I'll say it. You don't have to say it. I will say it. That he's positively reinforced in that way. But the problem with that is that what on the other end of that is that when sex is still happening in a relationship, the man believes that there's nothing wrong with the relationship. So it can make it very hard for women to navigate that. So it's like, okay, I'm going to positively reinforce you. We're going to have sex, whatever. And then I'm going to slowly try and ease you into a couples therapist office, right? But the problem is that if they're still having sex, he's going to be confused as to why they're going to a couples therapist, because men tend to think that as long as that's still happening in the relationship, that means that the relationship is good, their bond is solid, and that's what tends to happen. When they start to think that there's something wrong with the relationship, it's usually because sex starts to slow down or stops altogether, which is when they'll start to be like, ooh, something is wrong with our marriage, something is wrong with our relationship. So I hear what you're saying, and it is true that men do well with positive reinforcement, but it is a challenging thing for women to navigate, because often when she does, positively reinforce, he can take that positive reinforcement as there's nothing wrong with our relationship. So getting him into the couples therapist office will still be very challenging for her.
Yeah. No, I would have to agree. It's kind of, I guess it's kind of like, yeah, it's, I can see how it could be transactional and kind of like, I get it. But yeah, I get your point. I understand what
you're saying too, by the way. It wasn't that I disagreed with it. I'm just saying on the other end of it.
I mean, there's ways, but
on the other end of it, what can be challenging for a woman is in helping him to see that just because we're continuing to have sex in our relationship, that does not mean our relationship is solid and that it's good.
Yeah.
It can be very hard to
it can be, what I'm saying is it can become a thing where it's anticipated. It can be like, hey, let's do this thing and we can go to Victoria's Secret or whatever type of thing. I'm just work with me here. I just
didn't understand.
Well, okay, sorry.
He's saying that? Or?
No. Like she can be like, listen, because at the end of the day, men love to make their women happy, right? And so by her embrace, by her kiss, by her physical affection and everything else, by her cooking for him, things like that.
Oh,
by
sex. We're talking about cooking again.
No, God, right? Okay, don't cook, whatever. By sex, everything, all types of things, right? And so that can make him feel good. Like, hey, look, I chopped some wood for you. Look, they're like, oh my God, my hero, crap. We like that crap, right? So it can be a thing where, hey, babe, let's read this. I know therapy is the thing that is kind of worries you. Let's go to Barnes and Nobles and get a couples book and read it together. And, let's read the first 2 chapters or 3 chapters, whatever it is. And then also let's stop by Victoria's Secret or something, because I want to wear something nice for you. Right. So it's kind of like, okay, this action leads to that action. Okay, boom. And then, something nice happens.
Yeah, but I want you to know, I'm sorry to cut you off. I want you to know, I don't disagree with what you're saying in theory. In reality, it doesn't work. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I want you to know, I thought
you said men respond really well to positive reinforcement.
Yeah. In order to get him into couples therapy is what I'm saying. It's not going to work. So follow what I'm saying. So one, even with your example with the book, that would be even challenging for her, with a lot of men. Because just bringing the book out that's supposed to be a self-help book is already small little thing would be challenging for a lot of men. There are men that are into it, they're open to it, but the men that are open and into self-help are also into therapy. Yeah. So I'm not talking about those. So I'm not talking about those men at all. Those aren't the men I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm saying in general,
the therapist writes the books.
Yeah. I'm saying in general, even to get a man to want to read that isn't into therapy and healing and growth and all of that, it's just not on his radar for whatever reason. Even getting him to read a book that's about growth and healing and self-help can be a very complicated process for the woman. So that's why I'm saying I don't disagree with what you're saying in theory. I do not disagree with it. What I'm saying is that there are deeper issues in relationships that the positive reinforcement unfortunately doesn't work as cleanly for. And couples therapy would be one of those, because men are very resistant to things, like in general, very resistant to couples therapy. So even if she tries to do it in these little tiny ways, and oh my God, you know, like men like to say a smart woman knows how to get a man to do whatever, but there is a cap to that. There are certain things that no matter what she does, he will be resistant to. And one of those things is something like couples therapy. Another one of those things is him learning how to express his emotions and his feelings. That's another thing that he'll be very resistant to. No matter what she does, he'll be very resistant to it. So there are things that the positive reinforcement does work for. Kind of like, I'll give you an example. One of the pet peeves I've had with you that I'm sure lots of married women can relate to is when we have a box that needs to be thrown out. So there would be times where we'll have a box, you know, like we bought something big, like a mattress or a TV or whatever, and the box is huge and it's taking up a bunch of space. And I'll be like, hey, babe, can you dump this box out for me? Not that I can't lift the box and dump it away. That's not it. But then when I would take the box and dump it away, then you would get mad. Like, hey, I said I was going to do it. Right? You, yeah. Like I once heard this quote. There's a joke that said, if a man tells you that he's going to do it, he's going to do it. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to do it today, a week from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. But if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
I've always done it.
But anyways, so what I'm saying is that the boxes, like for some reason, would take forever for them to be thrown out. But at the same time, you would view me throwing the box out as she doesn't trust me. I told her I was going to take the box out. All of that weird stuff. Yeah. So I forgot why I gave you that example. my point is that the positive reinforcement would work if you take the box out and I say, hey, babe, let's go to the bedroom. Something minor like that, the positive reinforcement does work. What I'm saying is for bigger life issues, the positive reinforcement doesn't work as cleanly as it would for those little tiny behavioral changes or on a day-to-day basis is what I'm saying.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I got you. What I'm saying is, you know, I was saying start with the book, but then it's like, hey, they can watch, like I said, because I'm literally speaking about the men who are like, I'm not doing this. I'm not open to this. They can watch other people in therapy sessions because there's a bunch of TV shows with that. And they can see how the dynamic works. They can see like, it's not, hear me out. Because I'm telling you, men who hear that, they think, oh snap, I failed and somebody's about to tell me how bad I am. Because men already, give me a second.
I'm sorry.
Men already think, oftentimes in society, that they're the issue. Men are dangerous. Men are this. Men are that. Men are cheaters. A man is a bad thing, right? Yeah. It's not good. You know, they're dogs. They're this. They're that. Da, da, da. There's no divine masculine, right? There's divine feminine. Ooh, that's better, right? You know, masculine, toxic. You know, feminine, divine. That's how you hear those two things. You don't hear toxic feminism. You hear divine feminine.
I think we're starting to hear toxic feminism. Like it's slowly getting there the same way it took a while before we started using the term.
It's autocorrect. It's everything, once everything starts going, it's going to swing. Right. And I'm glad it, right. So there's already that. And so men already think it's always our fault already. It's like we're going to have our guards up. And so seeing, honestly, watching all those therapy shows we saw, and it was weird for me seeing the therapist. This is way back. Seeing the therapist like go after the woman, but
when you say rare, I have a question for you, because I think I'm okay. When you say rare for you to see, before those shows would have come on TV, where else would you have seen it?
No, I'm conflating two things.
Okay.
I like using this example all the time. You remember that time where some people won't know this, but whatever. Let's do this. I won't use the name. If we're driving by and we see a couple and they're pushing a baby stroller, right? And the woman is like, you know, pointing at him saying, you did not. You don't know what they're saying, right? Yeah. When you see that situation, right? Most women are going to see that and be like, get him, girl. You tell him.
What did he do?
What did he do?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Other way around.
Yeah.
She's pushing the stroller and he's Women are going to see that and think, ooh, right?
Do you agree that most men also would?
Yes, of course, absolutely.
Okay, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I'm not. No, men are going like, yeah, I get it. No, it's a bad look, and so 100%. So it's like what I'm saying is like society and men knowing this. So it's almost like we are guilty in the realm of relationships. What did he do? What did he do? If it's like, wait, she cheated? What do you mean?
Yeah.
She abandoned the family? What do you mean? You know, she hit you? What do you, like? It's not the same thing. One, because it doesn't happen as often. So I understand, but again, so what I'm saying is like we already feel like, okay, there's a agenda per se against us, right? We can feel that way, and so when we're going to see someone who's supposed to help the relationship. And okay, that's one that now it's going to be not 7 out of 10 times. It's going to be a woman. It's like, oh, here we go.
No, I understand that. I think what you were saying, I understand what you're saying. There's two things that I want to say there. Number one, it would be that the example that you gave about when she tells him, hey, let's watch, this couples therapy show together on TV.
That's what I was going to tell you. Yeah.
Do you want to finish what you were saying? Because I don't want to.
Okay, go ahead. What I was saying is that seeing a therapist tell a woman about herself and here's how you are responsible for here's how you come up in this relationship and how you are responsible for the damage that you've caused and this, that, and the other, right? So when we were watching, I think it was Dr. Jen, and when I saw her telling, like, going after women, not going after per se, but basically telling women, here's where you're wrong, and here's what you're doing wrong, and here's a better way of doing it, and this is how it's making them feel. Yeah. Basically, the man being seen by someone, and it's a female a therapist, and showing the woman how she's representing herself in the relationship and how it's harming him. I was just like, oh, it's literally because I was so accustomed to being the reason for everything, right? I didn't think it's just, and most men I hear this, I didn't even think it was possible, right? And so seeing, I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So it really is not a bias. It's like, here's where you're wrong. Here's where you're wrong. Here's what she needs. Here's what he needs, and so on and so forth.
But that okay. So there's a few things there, right? I don't want this to go longer than it has to. I'm going to try my best to compress because I have so much to say here. So there's just so much to say. I'm trying to figure out where to start. But I hear what you're saying about the men are not used to hearing what the woman is doing wrong. I believe that there's a few things. When a man is in a relationship, there's only two of them in that relationship. So there is no third person to say who's doing what wrong. So when a man says, I'm not used to hearing what she did wrong, I would venture to say that that's because there is no third person in their relationship. There's just two of them. That's number one. Number two, what happens with what you're saying about the wife can say, hey, let's watch this couples therapy show together. That would also be a very challenging thing because she would have to have the ability to recognize that how it might impact him when they're having conversations about the show and she brings their personal relationship into it. So it can get into a very difficult place. Let me explain to you why. So for a couple to watch a couples therapy show and be able to engage in a conversation about that show in a constructive manner, they have to have already done a certain amount of healing work themselves. So when you take a couple who hasn't done any healing work yet, and we're saying they should watch a show together, we're assuming they have the ability to have a conversation effectively about what they're watching in a couples therapy session. But let me explain to you why. I'll give you an example. We're watching the show and the wife hears the therapist say to the husband, you should open up more. She's asking you to express your feelings. You should open up more. Now, the wife turns to her husband. She says, see, I told you, you got to open up more. You got to talk more. You don't talk to me.
She shouldn't be doing that.
She shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. I'm going to give it to you on the other. He's going to shut down. Okay. So I'll give you an example on the man's end. If the man is watching and he sees the couples therapist say to her, when was the last time you apologized to him? He's going to turn to her and be like, see, I'm telling, and then they're going to start arguing. So now that doesn't set them up to feel like, oh, we'll be good in couples therapy. So what I'm saying is, for a couple to be able to even watch a show, like a couples therapy show, both of them had to have already done, at least one of them, I'll say, would have had to, because there's an expression that says a relationship is only as healthy as its least healthy partner.
I understand that example, and that definitely makes sense. I can see, because we've done that, right? I can see us watching something and be like, oh, see, you should do this, and you see,
they weaponize it.
They 100% couples can weaponize it.
Yes.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'll say this: I oftentimes can see the world in a way from anecdotal evidence and how things affected me. Oftentimes, I wasn't even aware that I did things until I saw other men doing it.
I get that.
I thought, the whole nice guy syndrome crap. I thought, I don't cheat. I'm loyal. I provide. I'm a dad. I'm home. I'm present. Blah, 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 blah.
Therefore, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I'm romantic. I please. I don't like. I'm like, you know what I mean? I make money, like, good, right? There's nothing wrong with this. There's no way.
Just tune her out. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
There's no way, right? And that's and then reality hit. It's like, oh, there's this whole other realm that I was didn't even know that I had to work on. Communications, my needs, also emotional, to all sorts of crap, right? So, and that's what we're not. But again, seeing other men and recognizing, like, seeing another man do something that I would do, and seeing another woman reacting to what I would,
the same way your wife would,
the same way my wife would, and then hearing a therapist break that down, what happened, it's like, oh.
And that's what I was saying about making it. And that's what I was saying, why it's problematic for him to view his friends as his only source of accountability.
Yeah.
Because we're assuming that the male friend understands a female experience. He's not.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
So that was but either way, that's a suggestion. But again, obviously, I say, hey, let's watch this and not weaponize it. Yeah, easier said than done.
Easier said than done, because once people get triggered, it's there.
100%. So either way, I guess, like I said, it's just an idea, but I understand why it can be problematic. For me, is it worth a try? Yes. Is it worth a?
I think it's worth a try. I just wanted to put that out there to say that, hey, by the way, this could happen too, so that you don't go into it with rose-colored glasses on, thinking that it's going to work in this beautiful, perfect way where you're going to watch this show, you're going to have a great conversation, and then your husband's going to be like, yeah, babe, when does couples therapy start? I just don't want to,
no, you're right.
paint that picture.
Yeah.
It could go well. I just didn't want to paint the picture that this is how it's always going to work out.
Yeah.
And I will say, the same way you said that, going through watching the show or reading trying to get him to read the book first, I will also say to every man watching this that going to couples therapy with your wife, even if you're not legally married, is definitely worth it, because what a lot of people think therapy is, it is not what it is. And I will also say to any man watching this that when you are sitting in that therapist's office, the therapist is a therapist. They're not a psychic. They cannot read your mind. If you are having problems in your marriage, if there are things your wife is doing that are bothering you, concerning you, frustrating you, irritating you, you have to open up your mouth and you have to let that therapist know that, because no matter how much schooling they went through, that does not give them psychic abilities. Right. So if you are not saying anything, and because it's very common for the man to sit there quietly, let her just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and never end. And then he wonders why the therapist can't understand his side. Well, because you didn't open up and you didn't say anything. You didn't express to the therapist what you are experiencing in your marriage with your wife.
Yep. I 100% agree with that. So yeah, that was the next thing you just mentioned about with the therapy. I don't know if you had any other questions for me, or.
I had another question. I want to, specifically when it comes to a man who's because we just spoke about why men don't think marriage is worth it in terms of when he sees single women and how they're acting. You know, we spoke about that. But I have a question. So my other question is, if a man is already in a relationship, so he's not looking at what other single women are doing, he's already in a relationship with someone that he says he's in love with, what are
the things he looks forward to getting?
Three things that make him hesitant to take the next step into marriage.
Wow. You see, that's why I got to separate myself. Thinking
Please do.
I'm projecting. I'm like, because I always wanted to get married. So yeah, fear of commitment. But what is she doing? Whatever
his top three things are making him hesitant to.
I think the number one thing.
Yeah.
And I think it has, again, it ties into the fear of commitment thing. I think a lot of men will use financially. I don't think I'm there yet as a reason. Some men feel like they have to have X amount in the account before they're able to propose. Some men think, well, I have to have a home already before I propose.
Okay.
Some men think they have to make a certain amount of money before they propose. Now, can these things be excuses? 1,000%.
Yeah.
But with that said, we have to, I don't want to dismiss their experience. And so we have to ask what it's rooted in. Well, what men hear is women will leave you because of money. Women will leave you because you're not providing. Women will leave you, whatever the hell it is. And they're like, if I do this, like I'm doing it. So it's kind of like the term, I'm pretty sure women hate hearing that. When a man loves you, like you're the one, it's like, yes, my life, here you go, stab it, do what you want with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Does he understand that women view you're the one only when she has the ring? Does he understand that until she has that ring, he can say you're the one as much as he wants to? In her mind, it's always going to be, maybe I'm not the one.
I hear you. Here's the problem. Because of the divorce rate and who are the ones initiating the divorces, it is very terrifying for them. So it's kind of like, and then they're going to idealize, they're going to think all of them are millionaires and I'm going to pay her $1 million a month for alimony.
I hate those examples so much. Like, why are we always talking about these like ultra rich people when the majority of the masses are not that? It's also very irritating.
Making 80, 90, but
let's just talk about regular, normal people.
Of course. So definitely, I think it stems from, I want to make sure that I have this stuff so I can give to this woman. It's kind of like, it's kind of like from olden days, like, I would like to marry your daughter. Here are some goats. Here's some cows. Here's what I can offer. The father's like, I approve. Let's combine our families. Whatever the hell it is, right? It's like he wants to know. It's like some men think that they're supposed to have their ducks in a row before they do that. Like I currently, thinking about now, I know one of my friends in particular, he's been dating a girl for about at least 2 years, and he makes 6 figures, and I don't think he's proposed. I don't even know if he's going to. I'm not sure, but at this point, and he's late 30s, right? So it's kind of like what is? I understand when you're early 20s, people dating longer, but late 30s, it's like, I mean, what are we doing? If I see, I'm projecting again, but whatever, right? Because I'd be trying to get this, but I think that plays a heavy role in it. The fear of not having enough, and it's like men intrinsically aren't taught that you are good enough. Men, they have a limiting belief that we are how much our bank account says we are. We are what we can provide. We are, we're a resource. And
sorry, I just want to make sure that does the man feel that way when she's his girlfriend? That his only value is a resource?
I think he feels that way. He's audition. I think the point of boyfriend girlfriend is an audition, right?
But that's what I'm saying. Does he feel like he's only a resource to her when they're boyfriend and girlfriend?
He's a physical resource, a financial resource, companion. I mean,
I should have been clear on that. Meaning a financial resource. Does he feel like he is specifically a financial resource?
Not 100%. I mean, depending on where they are, if they're not living together, not as much. But it's like, see, again, the type of guy I would be.
I understand.
Again, I'm projecting.
Okay.
It's like, if we're in a serious relationship, we're like in late 30s. We're 6 months I don't know, maybe even shorter in, and it's like, I really seriously, they're like, hey, let's think about moving together, or let's start, let's I'll take care of that for you, type of thing. Because
but that's like, what I'm sorry, I just want to, okay. What I'm asking is, when a man is a girl's boyfriend, they are boyfriend and girlfriend. Does he view that she's with him solely, primarily as a financial resource? That's what I'm asking.
Again, depends on the relationship for the most part, because most women aren't dating NBA players. Most women are dating millionaires and whatever, right? So I would say having a girlfriend can be an expense. It's not free. Meaning,
that's not what I meant. What I meant is how he views, how she views him, is what I'm asking. I'm asking, does he view that she views him primarily as a financial resource when they are just boyfriend and girlfriend? That's what I'm asking. Primarily a financial resource.
Primarily?
Yes.
I don't. Okay. Man, I can see how some think because she, again, depends on the type of woman you want. It depends on the type of woman you're into. Because if you met a woman leading with your money and are surprised that she wants you to continue leading with your money, you're a weirdo.
Gotcha.
Right? So, but a lot of men, like, hey, shorty, you can get whatever you like, and I can buy you this, and they'll love bomb, and then whatever, right?
Okay.
But outside of that, no, I think it's like, she likes me because I make her laugh, or she digs me. But if I'm broke, what a man will do is he'll black and white it and say, yeah, cool, she might like me for me, but right now, if I say I'm unemployed, if I go to her and say, excuse me, miss, can I get your number? And I'm unemployed, and she knows I'm unemployed, my chances of getting that number are like slim to none. That doesn't mean it's not possible, right?
But why are we going to unemployed versus?
I'll explain. I'm trying to set the precedent about, is it a financial thing? In other words, a man, right, who, I don't know, a 25-year-old man goes to the mall and sees a 23-year-old grad student. I mean, they say, oh, what do you do? I'm in school. She doesn't work. She goes to school full time. She's unemployed, but she's going to school full time, right? But he works. He's not going to look at that as a turnoff at all, in my opinion.
So what you're saying is, I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. What you're saying is a 25-year-old man who's in school.
No. Okay. Who's done with school.
Okay. So I'm just trying. Okay.
Yeah.
So how about if he's in school? A 22, 23-year-old man who is in school and he has a girlfriend who's also in school. Does he view her as primarily being with him as a financial resource?
No.
Okay, so let's do this.
Let's go, because that was a bad example.
No, that wasn't your example that I have issue with.
Well, I'm just saying, because I don't school. So like, let's say 30, right?
Okay.
So a 30-year-old man, right? A 30-year-old man, and he sees a woman that he's attracted to, and he goes up to her. What she is able to provide him financially,
okay,
if she's able to take him out on dates, if he's able to take her for dinner or movies, whatever it is literally going to be zero of his concern.
Yeah, that's why that's not
right. Right. The other way around, he's going to think that if I can't do these things, what exactly am I approaching her for?
Okay, so
some guys will have that limiting belief.
And they should.
Yeah.
Because they should.
Yeah.
But that's different from, I primarily see you.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I don't think
that's very different from him believing that his girlfriend
I don't think
primarily sees him as a financial resource.
I don't think men see their girlfriends as like they see them as girlfriends see them as an ATM machine. I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
So that's what I was trying to ask.
Right.
Okay.
No.
So so let me say something, okay? So that 30-year-old man absolutely should, if he is unemployed, feel like he shouldn't approach her. That doesn't mean she won't say yes, because plenty of women would still say yes.
Yeah, I know.
But him feeling like he shouldn't approach a woman because when he's unemployed makes a lot of sense. And I also personally believe that if he cannot afford to court her, he should not be dating her. Because again, it's a personal belief that through the courting process, I believe that women should never pay for dates. That doesn't mean she can't do other things for her man. There's lots of other things that she can do for her man. But I personally don't think that she should be paying for dates. And we spoke about this before, but I'll say it here. And my reason for that is each person through the courting process is supposed to give up one resource. Time is a resource. Money, finances is a resource. When the woman is giving up her time and she's giving up her financial resources, she, through that courting process, she's giving up 2 resources, and the man is still giving up 1 resource, which is just a financial resource. And the reason for that is because the woman has a biological clock. So when she's giving him her time, which is limited, right? So it's a resource because it's limited, and money is also has a cap too. There's a limit. Each person through that dating courting process should be giving a resource. So when women go, and they fight me on this sometimes, men do too, obviously. They're like, oh, of course she can pay too. They can believe whatever they want to believe. But a woman through the courting process should not be paying for dates. There are lots of other things I believe she should do to make her man feel loved and cared for and special and all that, but and that she desires to move it into a committed relationship. But that should not, under any circumstances, again, personal opinion, include her paying for dates. It sets up the dynamic in a manner where both the man and the woman throughout that relationship might end up with problems they would not have had if they did it in the traditional way, which is, I'm the man and I'm courting you. That's just a personal belief.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
And let me say here too, and this is a thing too, right? There's nothing more frustrating than me listening to women complain that women should pay for dates too. I'm trying to figure out, why do women think that it is empowering for women to make it easier for men to date more, to court more women at the same time? What is empowering about that? I need someone to explain to me. I need someone to explain to me why it's empowering for women to make it easier for men to spend more money on more women. I'm just trying to I'm just genuinely trying to figure out what they're talking about when they say that's empowering. I haven't heard one person yet explain to me why they view it as empowering, so that he can be like, you know what? She's going to pay for this date. Susie's going to pay for this date. Beth is going to pay for this date. Jessica's going to pay for this date. That. Michelle's going to pay for this date, and he can court all of them, and they're all paying for dates at the same damn time. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah. I do think some of the complaints that men have about marriage and what they feel like they lose in marriage are valid. The same way the complaints that women had about marriage prior were also valid. So prior, women were like, I'm taking too many losses here. I don't want to do this anymore. And now men are saying, I'm taking too many losses here. I don't want to do this anymore. But at the end of the day, both men and women desire to have that monogamous, steady, secure, stable marital relationship. It is what it is. Now, people may be like, oh, it doesn't work, At the end of the day, though, they still desire to have that. So I would like to hear more public conversations about what the solutions might be, the new models of what modern marriage should look like. That's what I'm hoping to hear a lot more of when I listen to other people talk about marriage, versus complaining about what doesn't work. Maybe creating a new system, a new model that will benefit both the man and the woman. But again, I'm going to say this again, but marriage is not supposed to be easy to get out of. It's not supposed to be easy to get out of. If it's easy to get out of, you are boyfriend and girlfriend. If you are husband and wife, there is a reason you have those labels. Life. There's a reason you have those titles. It is not supposed to be easy to get out of. It's just not.
I agree 100%. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. We thank you for sticking with us throughout this episode. We'd like to hear from you. Please leave us a comment at the bottom. If you have some time, press 2 buttons, a subscribe and like button. It's super quick. Just that's it. Like I said, we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to hear some suggestions on any other topics you'd like for us to cover. We look forward to speaking to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.